the key element about cold, that the people are going to need the most cold in a general sense, to stay healthy, are going to be the people at the higher latitudes. And if you're sick, you can maybe use cold as a hack, even if you're living at a lower latitude. But the real solution for the people low at the lower latitude, like closer to the equator, is going to be to get more sun, to stop getting as much blue light, to turn off the lights at night, not have any lights at night, get the red, the infrared, the UVA, the UVB that you're missing from light passing through clear window glass into your house, get the light that you're missing from artificial light indoors during the day or at night. So you really just have to go outside and charge yourself from the sun directly and from the ground, from grounding. You have to get the electrons from the ground, the photons from the sun, and then the photons from the sun excite the semiconductors in your body, which lets the electrons rise to a higher level and start to flow within the semiconductors. Okay, so you need the electrons from the earth and from food and the photons from the sun to combine, right, to get your energy. And then if you can't get enough sun, you have to use cold, okay, to be able to extract the same amount of energy from less sun. Okay, so that's the key. That's how it connects. So now that we know that, we can move on to some of the science and research behind cold exposure. So, and just as a caveat to that, again, just to stress this point, that the thing that made you sick is what you have to correct to get better, right? So what that means is that the reason you're sick, it's a cause and effect relationship. There have been things you've been doing and things you know that you've been doing wrong and things that you didn't know you were doing wrong, right? So like maybe you didn't know Wi-Fi was harmful. Maybe you didn't know that staying up late or leaving the lights on after sunset was harmful. Maybe you didn't know that you need to do grounding, right? Maybe you didn't know that you need to avoid vegetable oils, right? So maybe you didn't know that you need to avoid too much fluoride in your water or in your toothpaste or whatever. So you didn't know these things, and you need to figure out what you don't know and fix those things. And the things you do know, you have to start doing them properly, right? You have to really start to respect nature and God's universe that he created, the rules he created. If you follow the rules, you'll be healthy. If you break the rules, you'll be sick. So once you figure that out, you can figure out what you were doing wrong. And the other key thing is that most people have been imbalanced in some way, right? Even if you know all the things you're supposed to do, sometimes you do too much of something that you think is good for you, right? Maybe you're exercising too much or you're not exercising enough. So the person who's exercising too much, they have to stop exercising too much. And sometimes they have to go in the other direction, the other extreme for a while until they get better, and then they can settle back in the middle. And so usually if you want to get better quickly, you're gonna have to go from one extreme to the other extreme for a period of time. You're not gonna like it because you like what you are. People just inherently love themselves. They think they're doing the right thing, and they start to enjoy it and it becomes a habit, and it's hard to break the habit, right? So the people who are exercising too much, they're gonna have to stop exercising. People who are not exercising, they're gonna have to get off the couch and exercise, right? As long as they don't have like chronic fatigue, in which case you have to do some things until you can get to the point where you can actually exercise and it's beneficial. But the key underlying point is that if you're eating too much, you have to stop eating. You have to start fasting. If you're fasting all the time, you have to start eating. If you've been low carb forever, you're probably gonna have to add carbs. So my point is, like, the extremes are where you start to break down the system over time, and the resilience starts to break down.